Hey, 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 good evening. How are you doing today? Hope everyone's doing well. As well as we can do these days. I don't have a script today. Let me check that I am live. If you say hi when you come on, oh, my face is shiny. If you come on while I'm here, say hello. Let me know what you've been up to, like how's quarantine going and staying home and all that. Why can I not get to the page? I'm nervous today. I'm nervous today because I'm not sort of doing a training. It's gonna be sharing my story, so I'm feeling vulnerable already. Great start. Great start there. Okay, so I think I'm on. Let me share this. Good, awesome. So I've got that in there. Excellent. Hello, Rachel. Okay, so I've put that on there. It's live somewhere, so we're gonna leave it. Yeah, how's everyone doing? It's quite something here. Paul Cavell, who is having to be by himself most of the time, and because I am working still, and so he's taking it he's taking it hard sometimes. So we have actually not been out for, what are we on, Wednesday. I think the last time we were out was probably maybe Monday, Tuesday last week. So we've not been doing our one exercise a day, which I think we should probably do. Give the kid a break from being home. But yes, a few people on. Excellent. Okay, so if it's your first time here, hello, welcome. My name's Trust, and it's Trust and Money TV. I come on live on Wednesdays, and usually I am talking, budgeting money, because that's what I'm passionate about and what I help women with. And for the last few months, I have been hard at work putting together a course to provide like a 12-week coaching service for women, take them from start to finish, women who either have never really paid attention to their finances, to their money, just getting them through the basics of budgeting and setting them forward to do that. So I had that completed last month, so gosh, we're just on the 8th today. And that was ready to go. And I felt that when I was preparing what to talk about this week, what kept coming up was that it's time to just share the backstory, to share the story of why I'm doing this, and get a little bit personal. I don't know how much. I don't have a script, so a little bit nervous today. Like the page if you come on here as well, so that you know when I put things up again, because like I said, I come on live every Wednesday. If you watch this on YouTube later on, subscribe there as well. Okay. Where are you guys watching from? I can guess where some of you are watching from, but yeah, it'd be really good to know where you're listening from as well, and if you're watching it live, or if it's replay, comment replay so I know when you see it. Okay, excellent. I'm gonna stop stalling and trying to buy time and just get into it. So like I said, I put together a coaching, a 12-week program to support women get comfortable with finances, helping them know how to keep more of their money and really manage it properly. Now, my background is not in science. It's not in science. It's not in finance. So my degree is not in finance. What's the interest there? I've always been a numbers person. So growing up like I did in Nigeria, and I know I have some people on here from Nigeria as well. You can confirm that for me. You are either going to be a doctor, a lawyer, an engineer, or what else are you doing? Right? So it's like you've got those three categories. That's what you're going to be. And so I went down I'm going to be a doctor route. That's of those three options, that's where I wanted to go. And so I got into the sciences. I love that. getting into how it links into the business and why I'm doing it. For me, school was the best. School was a safe place. I really, really enjoyed it. A lot of things sort of happening growing up that didn't make sense, that wasn't ideal, which I'm not going to go into, but through all of that, school was the safe place. School was the place that I knew how it worked. I knew what I had to do to get the grades that I needed to get. And it was a really safe place. I had fantastic teachers. And so for me, education was a lifeline. It was, I have very, very good memories of that. Moving on into secondary school, a similar thing. I did have to, move for a bit. So when I was 14, I had to move away from my parents' place and went to live with relatives, and they were very lovely. I have great memories from that time as well, and looking back, that was a really good thing. From the school side, of course, it did change things completely, going away from home and family, and that's a whole other story for another time, but it did affect things slightly, but overall that was a good thing. And through all of that, education, school, that was the thing that was constant. And then I got into uni, in the let's be a doctor route. So in Nigeria, you have to go through some exams. I'm sure it's the same for here as well. So you go through exams to get yourself a place in there. Didn't quite get in through the doctor route, as it turned out. So I ended up starting a degree in nursing. Which I can see I have someone here who I started that nursing course. I'm not going to shout her out in case she doesn't want to be shouted out and put you on the spot. So I started that, and then about 1 year in, an opportunity came to apply for a scholarship. And this is going to sound crazy. From I don't know how long, I always wanted to leave, go somewhere. I didn't know where, I didn't know how, but I knew that, I think probably for a lot of us, like the idea of traveling somewhere was always going to be a welcome thing. I had a bit more of I don't want to say certainty, but it was quite strong. I didn't know how it was going to happen. Anyway, when the opportunity came to do that, I submitted an application for people from a particular part of the country, and the government was looking to give exposure to some of the youths to, I guess, a different way of learning, and to increase the skill set in general. I applied for that, and this is not bragging or anything, but because of all of that, I guess, all of that time, and maybe there was some natural gift in there as well, but I did apply myself and I was able to get that. And again, going back to education being the lifeline for me in terms of being able to get out. So I got myself one of the scholarships, which was really exciting. And so I moved from Nigeria to the UK in 2008 to study and all of that good stuff. And so looking back through that, those were the foundations of education. Is it for me. It is, it was really way up there. The other side of that story, I know I have family on here, I'm sure they're not going to mind. My immediate family, we weren't wealthy at all by any stretch of the imagination. I've talked about this in other more sort of private places. I don't think I've spoken about it more publicly. There wasn't a lot. I mean, where we lived, there were people who lived in structures, like I wouldn't even call it a house. Pieces of zinc that had been nailed together where people lived. Now, I didn't live in one of those, but that was right outside my house. So in the neighborhood, it can be easy, like you didn't have to look very far to see poverty, to see people struggling, to not know where your next meal was going to come from. And so growing up, I always had the idea in my mind that money was something that was always hard to get. It was tough. And so when I set up my first business, so getting into the business side of things, when I set up my first business at the age of 16, it was what we call it a call center, but it's probably not what you think here. So it's you get a business phone. You have it topped up with credit, and people come and they make calls with it and pay you a certain amount. People that either couldn't afford to top up their own personal phones, who didn't have a personal phone, or it was just going to be cheaper for them to do that. So that was my first rodeo, I guess, in terms of running a business. For a time, I did learn to repair phones. I mean, don't ask me what I remember from that, but I did take a little course for a brief time where you learn how to open a phone, fix little things like if the mouthpiece was faulty or if the earpiece was faulty, how to fix that quickly. So I added that as well to part of what I was doing, and it did quite well. I was able to start making little contributions to the family income. So that was the first rodeo of business. At that point, I was holding on to the money really tight, because this is something that's hard in my mind at the time to come about, and so I was holding on to it really tight. Moving to the UK at 18, education's basically done this for me. I get exposure to people who looks like me. Yes, things were hard, but getting into my first network marketing sort of business, because if you've followed me for some time, or if you've known me for a while, you know that I did get into that. And it was the exposure to, no, it is possible for it not to be tight. It is possible for it not to be something you have to hold on to so close and have, I guess, what you call a scarcity mindset. It is possible to have a lot of it. So that started to challenge that story. That started to challenge that in there, that this was always something that was difficult to come by, because here was people that looked like me that were doing quite well for themselves. And so from that time on, the focus sort of shifted from not just about holding on to it. Yes, you can make it, you just have to manage it properly. And then starting from then on, it's been about 12 years now since I've been here. It'll be 12 years in October. Fine-tuning the skills, the process of, right, how do you make your money work for you? How do you manage it where it's not something that's going to be scarce, it's something that you're going to manage. And those 12 years, there have been some rough times, there have been some difficult times. I mean, I had a 2-year stint where I wasn't allowed to work. And so that's a story for a whole other day. We're not going to get into that. But one of the things that came out of that was knowing how to live on what probably people wouldn't see as a lot, but making that work in a way that was abundant, to adopt a mindset of choices. You know, it's making choices with your money, because there's a different thing between saying I can afford this because I don't have it, versus I'm choosing not to get this because that's not a choice that's going to be aligned with me right now. And like focusing on what's important to you. So that was a really good point to learn that. And so putting it together, education being one of the very, very best things for me. I mean, I during university, during term time, that was my happiest. During term time, going to classes, during the holidays, I didn't like it. I didn't like it. I had to find something to do, and I was happy when sessions came back on, because that was my happy place. And so I was thinking, how do I contribute to that? Because I know that in the world, and this is the part where it gets really silly, when people used to ask me, so what do you think you want to contribute? What is the mission? I want to be part of the reason why children in places where education might just be their lifeline, that they're able to access that. Especially places where either their parents don't have it, or places where becoming an orphan can mean the end of the story for you. There is no welfare state, there is no social system that's going to catch them or support them. And so I know what education did for me, and I want children in those situations to experience that as well. I want to be part of that. I used to say that I would like to build a lab for research. That's the science in me talking. But that is part of that as well. It's about the education. And so with those other ventures that I have, tried in the past in network marketing, it's about things that have the potential to generate this sort of income that can really make a difference in stuff like that. I love what I do for work during the day, because that is directly related to the science that I've studied, and I love that. I enjoy it. But it is difficult to raise this sort of income that's going to be life-changing being employed. And so how can we increase how much impact I can have? How can I increase the sort of impact that I have in terms of being able to make a difference in the lives of those kids, that having an education is just that thing that they need to get them from here to there, to just challenge their minds a little bit. Because education challenged my mind for what is possible, like to know that there could be something different. And that's what I want to do. Give them a chance to be in an environment where they can hear and see something different to maybe what their family could give them, or that they wouldn't even have at all. Just to give them that little bit of hope that there just might be something more. I'm not going to get upset. I get emotional when I talk about this. So it came to the point of, right, what do I know how to do? What can I share that can potentially raise something like that? And so last year, that day in June, which I think that's going to be a date that's forever etched in my mind, where I came up with something myself, because I had been doing a lot of soul searching at that point. I'd read a lot of books, I'd listened to a lot of biographies, stories of people who have made a difference, and it keeps coming up over and over again. What is it you know how to do that can help something else? What is it you're passionate about? What is it you have that can be of value to someone else, that can get them what they want and also get you what you want, which in this case is, I want to create that impact. I want to drive that education of children forward. What can I do to make that happen? And so it came to me, right, you are someone that you've been involved in personal finance. You have been doing personal finance. You've lived it. You've supported friends with it. This is something you know how to do. How about you put something together that's going to help? At the time, I wasn't even clear. It was just women that I was looking to work with at that time. What I had was just the basic foundations of, this is what I want to do. I want to show people how to do what it is I've been doing for the last nearly decade, managing their money. And the goal of this is to use whatever comes off that, profit, whatever, most of it going towards the bigger vision for me. And so I got to work. I got a coach because to work me through it, because I'd not done this before. All the stuff I've done before is, someone else's idea that I'm marketing or moving forward. This was mine. How to put it together, how to make it into something that would be of value, that would fill that need. And so I got a coach, and it's taken, like I said, I finished that just in March. So let me see. I worked this out before. I think it was 8 months. Yeah, let's see. June, July, August, September, October, November, December, January, February, March. Okay, so that's 10 months, but I didn't get the coach till around July. That's when I actually started. And so just taking the time, going from scratch, how do you put it together, what services do you use and stuff like that. And so that came together. And so at points during the process when it's been hard, where I've hit a brick wall, how do I move this forward? Oh my goodness, is this even worth it? Because like I said, I enjoy what I do for work, and it more than covers what I personally need and what my son needs. And so when you think, why am I even doing this when I want to relax? And even with the previous things, when things have gotten hard, and thinking, why am I doing this? The faces of those children come to mind. Like if I don't do what I know that I want to do for them, that just wouldn't sit right. And so I can't get comfortable. I say, I hear it's the goal. The goal doesn't have to change. You can change the how you get there. And so I know that I'm not going to stop changing the how. The how can be flexible, but the goal is absolutely staying the same. But finding something that I know how to do this. I have done this. I have made it work. I've got the time, and I can teach someone how to do it. And from that, create a lot of good. That is friggin' exciting to me. That is exciting. So what are we on? Gosh, I've been talking. This is probably one of the longest ones. Don't get me going. And so that's why I put it together. I do it. If you like it, click a like, share it if you think there is someone that it could help. Just especially with everything that's going on right now, jobs being lost and stuff like that. It's not a bad time to actually sit down and think about, right, what do you actually want to do? What is the thing that if you accomplish it, it's going to be very fulfilling. If it's something bigger than yourself, fantastic. It's not a bad time to actually sit down and think about that and start putting plans in place for how that's going to happen. The satisfaction that comes from that for me, it's not like anything else. And so that's why I put it together, and I'm so proud of it. And just keeping my eye on the ultimate goal. It's my way of saying thank you to the whole Institute of Education in general, because I don't know, life would have been very different if I didn't have that as a safe place, as school as a safe place, as a happy place that I knew how it worked, and then ultimately got me out and away from where things were at. Okay, I'm going to leave it there. Everyone stay safe and keep looking after yourself. We will get through this. We will get through it. I know it looks pretty bad right now. It has to pass, right? It has to pass. So we will get through it. I'd love to hear your thoughts. If you have a similar experience, something that drives you, something that really gets you going, I'd like to hear it. Or if you're not comfortable putting it here, message me it as well, so I know what's doing that for you. I don't know if you would have seen, just maybe last week I mentioned that I have set up a private group as well, where we're going to get more in depth and get a bit more open, I will put a link to that in the comment, where I'll be doing live workshops, budget with me, show you exactly what I'm doing, how I do it. I'm planning to have some guest speakers come in as well and talk about other topics sort of related to that, and things that are going to be beneficial to us as women, as we're stepping out, taking charge of things, of our money and other areas of our life. So I'll have guest speakers come in and speak there as well. So I'll put a link to that if you want to be invited to that. Do that completely free. Where if you do add yourself, wait for me to accept the invite, so I'll get around to it. But yeah, okay, I'm gonna leave it there. I'll go have something to eat. Look after yourselves, everyone. Take care. Bye.